last speaker is yet another inspirational veteran. He's also a Paralympic gold medal holder. Greg served as a Royal Engineer Commando before suffering a traumatic injury in Afghanistan in 2009, which led to a double amputation. Despite initial struggles, he worked hard to regain his fitness and pursued opportunities to learn new sports. He became interested in rowing after trying out for the Invictus Games in 2018. In 2019, he spent some of his time at Caversham, but an injury forced him to end that period early. He returned in 2023 after spending time with the development squad and coaches at Agecroft Rowing Club with renewed energy and overall development. He and Lauren Rolls qualified the boat for the 2024 Paris Paralympics, whilst also becoming European and world champions and setting a world best time in an undefeated season in the PR2 category. He has a great passion for improved mental health provision and breaking down barriers to healthcare. He is currently serving as the Armed Forces Lived Experience Lead for the ARP Courage North. And after completing his MSc with distinction last year, he is planning to pursue further education after just winning his gold medal in Paris. Greg is married to Melanie and has two boys aged 11 and 9. His family are passionate about sports and love spending time outdoors. He typically splits his week between training at home with his family, spending crucial time at Caversham with his rowing partner Lauren, and essential coaching before rowing. Greg worked as a mental health practitioner for NHS Courage, where he played a vital role in developing and improving coping strategy, increasing patient engagement and familiarity. He is also a member of the Armed Forces Public and Patient Voice Group, NHS England. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Stevenson.
Right, sorry, bear with me. Right, well, thank you very much for the kind words. I didn't realise I did so much. Don't worry, I'm going to change gears a little bit. I had a little bit of fun with this because Guy asked me to talk about myself, which is my favourite subject, and I'm not taking it too seriously, so don't worry. So probably a more realistic picture of me rather than being in a suit, watching sport with my family. I think this was the 100 at the cricket. Really enjoyed that one. Probably even more realistic, me rowing a boat in Agecroft and causing trouble with my sons. But yeah, this is me. So joined the military in 2006, was pretty rubbish at being a barrack soldier, wasn't very good with an iron, hated polishing my boots, so I went away, did the commando course, so I didn't have to do any of that. Did that in 2007 and deployed with 3 Commando Brigade in 2008 on Operation Herrick 9 and unfortunately detonated an IED. I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the initial 48 hours, just to show the incredible care that I did receive, the incredible skills and drills by the lads. Made a quick reference there and a great picture that I managed to pick. God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, sort your engines, because the Brits refused to pick me up, actually. They were quite a fierce firefighter at the time, so the SOPs were, no, let's leave him. Whereas the Americans, on the other hand, no SOPs. Not always the best to hang around with, but in occasions like this, absolutely brilliant cowboys. They flew in, the lads threw me on, and got me to the operation theatre in Camp Bastion. Next thing you know, I'm in an induced coma in Birmingham, and I was going to be all right because I knew I was in the hands of the fantastic surgeons. But yeah, quite a common question I get asked is, how long did it take me to be rehabilitated? And more recently, I found out actually, I think that's still ongoing. I think it's a lifelong, process. Keeping myself well, finding out what that is, what that means, useful coping strategies, as well as keeping physically strong, keeping physically well, operating prosthetics. What can I bring to the party? I've received this fantastic care, these fantastic pieces of equipment, but I think there is some ownership on our veterans, to develop the skill, the strength, and get on with it, and live a fulfilling life. But yeah, it's not always easy doing that. And I don't stand here and pretend it is easy. I have had challenging times. I got trapped in a bit of a pain cycle, doing too much. I tried to run long distances and it wasn't great for my lower back. So it's not always been a smooth journey into sport. But yeah, that back meant that my mobility was reduced, spent a little bit more time than I liked in my wheelchair, got a bit grumpy about it. Used alcohol, pain medication, to try and improve my mood. It worked, like I said, it does work for a little bit, but unfortunately, the downside of that is social isolation, losing relationships, losing loved ones, people not wanting to be around you. But, fortunately, I got the support required, and also, was able to get back in the gym and be physically active, things that I didn't realize at the time, but were incredibly important to me. With the support from the NHS, was able to, turn this cycle around, and learn what really kept me well. And they took my running legs off me, which also helped. But this was a huge part of it as well, which I didn't realize. The penny dropped a little bit on my master's in psychology, actually, that this was probably a huge part of my struggle and my social isolation in the immediate years after discharge from the military. Actually, I was pretty rubbish at communicating. At one point in my prosthetics care, we had a scale of 1 to 10 on how I was going to communicate with my prosthetist, on 1 being it's not great and 10 being things are pretty good. And that's how simple we started. So for a gobshite, we started at a very low level. But also, it's a serious thing. I had a challenging childhood, wasn't particularly good at school. All the best soldiers start that way, I believe. Self-diagnosed childhood ADHD, so I was a bit of a menace, but the military was brilliant. I'm one of those, rogues that the military was a fantastic environment to be part of, but unfortunately developed, quite an extensive social identity on that. And, losing that was difficult, but what I found was replacing it with more positive ambitions, things like sport. So there's some fantastic research out at the moment from the Invictus Games. That's where I bumped into rowing. Never managed to quite get to Australia with it, unfortunately. But I did go to the trials and learn that having long arms and a big lung capacity is all you need to be a good rower. And this, work is really, really for me an important thing. Valued work, the amount of skills in the veteran community and how people can connect that with benefiting the wider community. It was really good to hear before, the lessons that are being learned from the rehabilitation of veterans. And that's something I think I took great pride in of working at SMRC. I would have definitely been one of your rehabilitation gurus, but I don't do that anymore. But we were all about that. Early on working with Dr. Fergus Jepson over at SMRC in Preston, we were seeing a lot of amputees coming into the gym. You can see there, military amputee Johnny. I have asked to use his image. An incredibly good-looking lad as well, so he didn't mind. But also, and young Yawa, who's now over 18, and the benefit he had of hanging around in the Headley Court sort of era of veterans, the massive benefit of coming to terms with his disability as well as being physically active, maximising independence, reducing clinical demand, consistent body composition, and how that helps prosthetics. It's not just all about being vain. It is actually about living a life where your daily living activities can be increased. But also that prehab philosophy, utilising mobility devices can be incredibly challenging on the body. So actually being proactive about that and developing, prehabilitating skills and drills, looking after yourself, thinking about diet, sleep, and all those things as well, something we got incredibly interested in. I have done a little bit of that with Tom Harrison House as well. So it is true. They do like cold water submergence and breathing techniques. So I'm also a beneficiary of that. But this was my learning from that actually, I think sometimes acquiring a disability, you're told to, take life easy. You're told to perhaps, get out of the fast lane. It's bullshit. We need people doing more. We need people, working hard. We need people challenging. Unfortunately, as I have experienced, that can sometimes mean, falling off on the other end of overdoing it. And, but this is, these are the challenges about reframing disability, that realistic goal setting. That's the bit I needed support with, not trying to take over the world every day. The holistic approach, so trying other, equine therapy, things like that really do make a massive difference. The mental health tools. So are they engaging? Are they being utilised? I've got a slide. These are the C cards that we're very proud of in Op Courage, that are utilised right across services. And, we're at an exciting stage where we're collaborating with other organisations such as Tom Harrison House, about developing them even further so we can have addiction specialist cards and, cards that actually appeal to the veteran and hopefully will be utilised a little bit more than the more mainstream tools available in the NHS, which are fantastic. But we're finding it's just about connecting that identity again and using that as an opportunity to get people, eyes on and utilising them to improve life. Yeah, and that's what I currently do. So I'm very much ear to the ground, feeding back what I'm hearing. So if you are representing the veteran community, and honestly, I can't thank you all enough. It's so fantastic to see everyone in one room. Everton, in the community, the great work you guys do. More of a Burnley FC boy. I was there yesterday telling the veterans that I think we can win the league. So don't want to put too much pressure on you, but you've got a big job this year. But everyone. And I really hope I'm doing a good job. And please do reach out. And that's what this is all about. This is a networking event as much as anything else. So when we're doing a great job, that's what I can feedback. So please, please do shout up and utilise me if I can represent any of the people within the NHS, especially up Courage in the north of England. Honestly, thank you. I like that quote. It makes me laugh. Be a doer, don't be a don'ter. Oh, and we won a gold at the Paralympics. But I thought that was going to be a really, really clever finish. Honestly, when I wrote this, I was like, yeah, and then I'll get them with that. But I walked in and gave the game away. I peaked really early. I started flashing the gold medal before. But so thank you very much. But really appreciate the invite. Cheers, guys. Thank you.